All right, we'll start the meeting. All right, any need for executive tonight?
There might be some little bit of the town manager recruitment that goes into executive session, depending on how dicey it gets.
Okay.
Okay.
Should be all right in open session.
Oh, all right, so we don't need to make a motion to go in executive? Or should we, just in case we need to?
Probably makes sense to authorize it
Okay,
if needed.
does anybody want to make
I'll
that
make a motion to
then?
executive session
Okay.
if needed.
All right.
There.
Wanna all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, so we do have a few things, we need to amend the agenda, some added items.
Yes, we have the town meeting minutes, actually the minutes from the public information session around town meeting from last year that Helen has produced. We also have another liquor license renewal application from Maple Fields. We have a homestead penalty abatement request and a highway access right-of-way permit. All which came forward after the packets were distributed.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
John, what was that third, or fourth one again?
Highway access right-of-way permit.
Thank you. Okay, anything on the minutes of December 15th, December 16th, and December 20th? I didn't see anything.
Look good to me.
Okay.
Okay, sending them down your way. Yes. Thank you for asking. $16,306.04. Yeah. And to remind myself, you're looking for that number. This one. Okay, let me correct it. 28,083.43. And those are the two numbers. I'll show it to you though. It's just usually a lot closer to the other one. Right. Holiday, storm overtime, etc.
All right, anything on the orders?
Oh, there's one more set of minutes,
Oh.
Alicia, and those are from the town meeting again.
Okay,
I don't know if you all had a chance maybe to take a look at the meeting minutes,
the ones that just came in the packet tonight?
or actually that were, I tried to email them a couple days ago.
Okay,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, is that all right?
Right, yeah,
We can
that's fine.
circulate them?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a year ago, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
No, to my recollection,
What's that?
to my recollection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
It'll try, it'll try.
Best of our recollection, these are correct.
Now anything on the orders?
Otter Creek Engineering, which project, what project is that?
That is a water system study with hydraulic study as part of it, and that's 100% grant funded. It's, the state is awash in grant funds from all of the bailout money from the feds, and they've decided to let water departments get an updated study of their system basically for a forgivable loan.
See whether we can find problems or make it better.
Absolutely, yep.
I had that circled too, and the Fire Hill, because I thought those were both older projects.
Well, the Fire Hill is the bridge project that is maybe going to be relocated, so they've done some engineering work down at the Hard Farm site where we might be moving that
Okay, the culvert.
project.
Yeah.
If there's no other questions, I'll send down the original tonight's and a debit card from tonight. Payroll?
All right, town manager's report?
Yes, there will be another sidewalk committee meeting on January 25th, again, to discuss the most promising sidewalk routes based on public input and constructability. The consultant will then conduct the second alternatives public hearing to coincide with the select board meeting of February 2nd. As discussed at the December 15th meeting, Sam Carlson, the spokesperson for the Grandpa's Knob wind turbine project, will continue to provide monthly written updates of his proposed wind turbine project. At some point in about May, he may ask for an opportunity to attend an in-person select board meeting to update it on the project's progress. At that point, the board may wish to consider a change of venue and date to accommodate what would be expected to be a large crowd of interested residents. Have heard no word yet from my email to GMP asking for input on how and at what cost we might get even better illumination at the intersection of Route 7 and Plains Road, but hopefully by the next meeting I will have heard something. On Monday, December 20th, Brookfield Services began installation of a backup generator at the town's wastewater treatment facility, which is sufficiently powerful to provide electricity for the sewage treatment process and for both the sewer department and water department buildings. I'm told that there has been completion of that project and training of our staff. The deadline for parties to supply information requested by the Act 250 Commission with regard to the bridge replacement project by the mobile station has been extended to January 21st. The town's planning commission has scheduled a meeting for tomorrow night, Thursday, January 6th at 7 o'clock to discuss how they will respond to the commission's request for information from them. With regard to the Adams Road Solar Project, on the morning of Monday, January 3rd, the state's Public Utility Commission conducted a virtual scheduling conference regarding this project. The town's select board and the town's planning commission will be moving to intervene and become a formal party to the proceedings. Not that we need to take any action, but to better monitor what's happening as it unfolds. And in fact, just today, I was invited by George Yan's replacement on the project, who would like to have a get-to-know-you chat tomorrow.
What
So,
happened to George?
don't know. The new highway truck, 550 truck, will be built during the week of February 7th. With regard to Dollar General, the state has notified them and the town of several relatively minor punch list items that need to be addressed. The town manager has asked his contacts at Dollar General to designate a person responsible for taking care of those matters, because it is their project. We're simply the co-signer on some of the
Do we
applications.
know what the check things are?
I'm sorry?
Do we know what the?
Yeah, I've looked at them. There's about half a dozen relatively small things, like the location of this sign or that sign,
Oh,
making,
one side's blocked by the warning lights.
yeah, exactly. So they gave us kind of a list of those, and I said to Dollar General, what's your plan to deal with these? Speaking of signage, a drunken driver from Virgins apparently, or allegedly, damaged 2 road signs near Lothrop School. The night he also plowed into, allegedly, a Furnace Road residence. The town and school are working to replace the damaged flashing light beacon mechanism at the crosswalk, while V-Trans will be working to replace the crosswalk ahead sign. And of course, once we get the state police's report, hopefully we can find out how to chase this driver and/or their insurance carrier for compensation. Veterans Memorial Update. Ann Pelkey, Shelley Williams, Tom Bro, and I met with Peter Louris of Initial Ideas on Tuesday, December 28th, to discuss how the names of Pittsford's veterans could best be attached to the marble wall in the corridor of the town office building. Stay tuned for his proposal and cost estimate when he supplies one. As to the tax sale, that's pending. A total of 6 properties were recently referred to the attorney Gary Kupferer for purposes of the tax sale process. The sale has been scheduled for Tuesday, January 25th at 2 p.m. here in the conference room. One of those 6 resolved today, and we expect that another 2 may be resolved later this week. Hopefully, more of these matters can be resolved before the gavel comes down on January 25th. At the next Select Board meeting, as I always do, I will ask the Select Board for authorization to bid on one or more of their remaining parcels.
John? Any Select Board member remarks? Okay, any public comment? Just observing.
Stephanie.
Oh, hey Stephanie.
Hi, I just wanted to say hello and just sort of bring you up to speed on the legislature. As you probably are well aware, that we are meeting remotely until the 18th. And then hopefully we'll be going back to Montpelier in person. And we'll be working on a number of issues that have really presented themselves as crises during this past sort of year and a half. And those things, for me, I'll be working mostly on workforce development issues and trying to see what we can do to solve this crisis and get our recent high school graduates, or get our high school kids trained, get people ready to take jobs when they graduate, get folks retrained, and get as many people, young graduates, to stay in Vermont and take the jobs that we have that are needed to be filled. So yeah, it'll be a really interesting session to see what we can do about that. And then there's other crises that other committees will be taking up, such as childcare and housing, and as well as broadband and the pensions. And it's a long list, and I foresee it to be a pretty tough session, and we have so much to do. So anyway, I'm available if anyone needs to reach out to me or has comments, or if they have questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go into new business, and since you guys are here, we can start discussion of purchase of a new police cruiser.
Okay, it's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. The car's 5 years old. I think I gave John a copy of this. You should have it all in your packet. I would like to stay with a Dodge Durango again, and the price is $41,662. I have asked Omnia, they normally donate $5,000 to help us outfit it. I have not heard back. I've been busy the last couple of days. I haven't been able to get over there, but I'm assuming that they'll go along with it. The car, I don't know if you've read this, but the car is 6 months out at minimum to get a new one. But the other thing is, I would like to keep the old car intact because the equipment in there is 10 years old. And I'd like to continue to run that car because we could use that car for a lot of things. We're running Chittenden, the truck detail 5 days a week now, and also Pittsford. So talking to Thunder, the mechanic, he said it's a good car. The only thing that it does need is a new driver's side seat because our gun butts tear the fabric and gets into the foam. So that's like a $200 item. They're used. So that's what I'm here for. If you don't agree to keeping the third car, it's about, they'll give us $8,000 trade-in, and it's $2,000 to have the equipment taken out of it. And we've never had, I think in the last two, and I think John can verify this, the last two of them we tried to sell, and it has never worked out well for us. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay. And then what do we have in the fund?
We now, because of your action at the last meeting,
Mhm.
have about $23,000. We were about 2,000 in the hole when you transferred 25,000. But by the time this cruiser's ready, there'll probably be another 7,500, taking it to about 30. And then in the next fiscal year, there's 20,000 being authorized. So you'd be having pretty much plenty of capability to fund it that way.
Okay.
Because the pickup truck's still 3 years out from being replaced.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 2020. So we try to get 5 years of life out of a vehicle.
Mhm.
I did not look at the pickup trucks as a replacement because one pickup truck is good for the department, and two, it will not fit in the garage because of the short doors.
Oh.
It will clean off the antennas and everything. So totally, it would probably cost to outfit a car, and the car would probably be around 52 to 54,000.
If you keep this one like you're talking, it'll have set outdoors probably, won't it? You won't have room enough.
Well,
I think we can make room in there on the third door of the garage, Joe. I never want to leave anything outside. I mean,
There are 3 bays.
there are 3 bays there. I take some of that back because I do have to leave the speed card out because the garage is not really high enough for that to go in. So that is out. It's really, I got it in there one year, but it's really, you gotta do a lot of.
Let the air out of the tires.
You gotta do a lot of finishing. But Joe, the work that has been done on that car, it's still got 1.5 years of warranty through Dodge. The what do they call it? The Tipum that we had all the trouble was. That still has 1.5 years warranty on it. And that's really the only problem we've had, except like I said, the driver's side seat's a little rough.
It's getting up around, what, around 100,000, I've seen the pay.
Yeah, it's got 96,000 on it, I think, right this second. So it'll be up around 110,000, but it has been, all in all, a pretty good car. I mean, we've had the Ford Explorer before, and that, I wanted no parts of that. This one's been a pretty good car for us.
Are there any other dealers that handle this kind of package, or?
I called 2 dealers because I wanted to stay with Dodge. I called, I think, his first name is Dick from Stone Motors. He has not gotten back to me because it was really just till recently that the price of the cars came out. And Dennis Johnson from Rutland Dodge, where we bought the pickup truck through. He got back to me as soon as the prices came out, and that's what he came up with. So, that's, as soon as I got it, I went to John and said, please put me on the agenda for the select board. And I printed out copies so he could give it to you, so you could review it.
Are there any,
The other good thing is that I know we had to borrow a cruiser from Brandon when yours was, had
Yeah.
some, what?
Well,
the tree fell on
the
it.
tree fell on it.
Tree fell on it, so.
And it wasn't the top of the line cruiser that we
Yeah,
bought.
so it may
Well,
not be a bad idea to have a spare kicking around and like you
No.
say, using it for times that you need it and kind of baby it.
Especially
And I
just
got a
to get
lot of
8,000
phone
on
calls.
it.
Why is Brandon running radar in Pittsford?
Oh, boy.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
well, no, it's not
No, it's
Brandon.
Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsford. We just borrowed a car.
We did, and
Yeah.
it was,
Oh, yeah.
it was a top
Well,
of
and
the
for,
line.
you know, what are you gonna get, 6,000 out of that car?
You might as
It's-
well keep it.
You might as well keep it, exactly.
That'd be my thought.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with
I
it.
don't need it.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I would say is maybe give Stones a call and say, hey, did you forget me? And
And
just see if he.
I've texted him,
Oh, okay.
I've texted him, I've talked to him on the phone, I've sent him pictures of the car, I sent him pictures of the VIN number, and I haven't heard nothing.
Oh, okay.
Mike, what about Billy King? Did he,
He doesn't deal with Dodge,
He
he
doesn't deal with Dodge at all?
won't deal with,
okay, I didn't know,
police cars.
okay.
In past years, I've done business with Fairhaven Dodge, but I don't know if there's.
They're not in business.
Well, that's
Yeah.
That's the one in Rutland.
That's the one in Rutland.
Yeah.
That's the one in Rutland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shows
They
you.
went out a bit, because
I'm behind time.
Anytime, yeah.
this is where that Durango came from,
Okay.
okay? But they went out of business
Sorry
shortly
about that.
thereafter,
Yeah.
so,
That was what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right?
yes.
Yeah.
No, it had to be, was right after we bought, so it's been like 5 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah,
Nice.
maybe 4.5 years or
Okay,
something,
yeah.
yeah.
while we're discussing it, what kind of outfitting or additional cost do you have in mind, do you think?
It's gonna need the same type of lights in the
52.
interior. I don't know the price specifics.
Right.
It needs 2 radios, the fire department radio and the police radio. It needs an in-car camera, which will probably be the most expensive thing, and that's upward of probably $4,500. It comes with a console, so we don't have to buy that. It comes with spotlights on both sides, but I only opted for one on the driver's side, because it's not too often that we have a passenger that, so it would be useless. It will need a radar unit, but they're like $600-700, and that's all it's gonna need.
Just
And
asking,
the the decals, and it will look similar to the one we have, but, you know, how they have to address it accordingly to the body style.
just asking, because I know that we'll see the additional costs, and
Yeah.
that answers the questions already.
Yeah.
Did that, Mike, include the 54,000, is that where you were talking, that included this other stuff?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, I would make a motion that we buy the cruiser with a limit of $54,000. If it goes beyond that, you'd have to come back to the board.
Okay.
I'll second that one.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
See how easy that was?
I can't ever figure you out sometimes.
We always want to keep you guessing.
Just one
When
big,
when you have your ducks lined up, it works.
just one big happy family.
Oh, yeah.
I've been working on this for a couple of months, because I knew it was gonna be a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because the car won't be here till June or
Oh,
July.
that's what I'm saying, yeah. It's
So
time
it
to,
won't be on the road till early next fall,
yeah, if you're lucky.
Well, maybe, yeah. Yeah.
depending on how we can get things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, you're
Yep.
welcome. What? Town meeting. Okay, I figured that, but I just wanted to make sure. All right, so let's discuss town meeting date, venue, and preparations.
Yes, Madam Chair. As you know, you may have heard, there's a new variant in town, and it's Omicron, and it's ravaging
everywhere.
through the world, and everyone's trying to figure out what it means for our lives and for how long. As I understand it, this is a less severe strain of COVID, but one that's far more infectious, and that brings to mind planning for town meeting, which usually involves a floor meeting indoors in a cold time of the year that precludes windows being open, that kind of thing. So under similar circumstances, last year, the legislature authorized towns to make changes and have all matters voted on by mail or in-person Australian balloting. That's something that the town took advantage of last year with simply a public information session the night before. And as I understand it, there's already been a Senate bill introduced to allow similar treatment of town meeting this year, keeping in mind that there's also the option of plowing ahead as though there's no problem, or asking for a delay in time so that the town meeting could be done off the floor but outside sometime later in the spring. So
Okay.
those are kind of the three options I think that are open to you. But I'm sure Butch and Stephanie might have more to add on that.
All right.
So, yesterday, the Senate officially introduced S-172 for action. And that bill, S-172, mirrored the bill that was passed last year to allow you to have an electronic town meeting, similar to what you had. And then, so it was introduced yesterday, and it was amended today in the Senate to allow the use of outdoor polling places like we did during the primary, and to mail ballots, similar to what we did last year. There was no mention of funding for mailing ballots like there was last year. I don't know where that goes. I don't know if we'll address it when it gets to the House, or whether the Secretary of State will just dip into his election pot of money and authorize that for towns. That's an open question. The bill was amended today to allow those particular things, and it was also amended today to allow municipalities like yourself, that you vote one vote by Australian ballot, and you vote your town budget from the floor, so that would allow you to vote to hold your town budget by Australian ballot. Similar to it's exactly the same as you had last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So you voted two budgets by Australian ballot last year.
Okay.
The school and then, so that was, that bill as amended was passed from the Senate today, and it was put in what we call all stages of passage. So they ran it through the Senate, and it was messaged to the House this afternoon. So we will see that bill. Well, the House is not scheduled to meet on the floor until Friday.
Okay.
So I suspect we will see that bill on Friday, at which time it will, in all likelihood, be assigned to the Committee on Government Operations, but I'm sure they're going to start working on the bill tomorrow.
Hope so, kind of
Tomorrow's
close.
Thursday, right? Yeah. So that the same thing, a similar thing could happen in the House that happened in the Senate. It will be assigned to the committee, the Speaker's choice as to whether we act on that right away. And if the committee has already seen the bill, taken a straw poll, taken an official vote, it could come right back to us the same day on Friday to move that bill ahead. And if that should happen and the House doesn't get rambunctious and amend that bill, so it has to go back to the Senate, which I would doubt would happen at this late date, then the House would pass it out maybe on Friday, at the very latest Tuesday, and at which time it will go to the governor. Governor has 5 days to review the bill and sign it. I suspect his team is already reviewing the bill. So maybe by the end of next week, we'll know for sure how this process is going to work. Then it kicks down to you to make those decisions on, are we going to have a remote meeting like you had last year? Are we going to mail ballots? Those kind of decisions will have to be made locally. And I'm not sure, and I'll certainly ask, whether you can switch. And let's say I go to Lauren Willen, all of a sudden Omicron goes away.
Right.
And you want to have a in-person meeting. Problem is your town report has to reflect
Right.
what type of meeting that you're gonna have. So
We're
you're gonna
looking
have
at
to
a
make that
publication
decision
date coming up.
today based on the best information that you have.
Right, right.
So, I don't have any comment on how you're gonna make that decision. Good luck to you. But this will allow you to guarantee a town meeting. It also will allow you to put the town meeting off to a date certain later on where you can have the town meeting outside. Sudbury did that last year. They had the town meeting, I think, June, and they had it outside.
I think as I saw the statistics, 80% of towns went to Australian ballot
Yeah.
and 20% did the postponing.
That's right, they postponed and went to an outside. The problem with postponing, you still have to vote the school budget.
Yep.
I know, I'm not a
So-
big fan of the
So
postponing,
that's,
but
that, no,
go
so
ahead.
that's some consideration. You have to vote the school budget by that
Yeah,
second, by
yep.
town meeting day. So
Right.
that,
We do have, I think we have Helen in the call. Are you there, Helen? I guess not. I thought that was the phone symbol.
I just want to add
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
Butch nailed all the details. It's amazing.
Thanks.
Only change is that
He does do his job.
the vote will be next Wednesday and not next Friday. I just received an email saying that they'll
Oh, you
gonna
did?
have
okay.
a floor session on Wednesday,
yeah.
which had not been planned previously.
Yeah.
So we moved up a couple of days.
That's good,
with
yeah.
Yeah.
All the decisions.
So by Friday, you'll know
Okay.
what you want, what you need to do, and then you won't meet for 2 weeks, and when is your town report due?
Well, that's what I
Well-
need, when's that due?
There's even another degree of difficulty just here in Pittsford, and that is Linda's long-planned vacation and her usual,
no.
her usual work interacting with the town report people. But it probably could be adjusted, but that's why we are emphasizing the desire to make decisions tonight if possible. But if not, the warning can be adjusted that relatively easily. What would be much more difficult would be to fiddle around too much with the budget after tonight.
No, I know, as much as it'd be nice to meet in person, I think doing it like last year is just gonna have to be,
I think so.
just gonna have to
Right,
be.
I think what we need to plan on is doing the exact same thing we did last year. So I think.
And that's what the
get
warning
it-
now
we-
reflects.
We get it written up that way, and if they fall through and we can't,
Right.
then we have to change the language, but that would be the only language we'd have to change.
I mean, this bill will certainly pass, probably. pretty
One would
much
hope.
In its current, in
It
its
was
current.
what, 1,700 cases 2 days ago? Yeah.
I think-
David, I've been there 13 years, I never say never, or never say ever until the governor's signature's on the
Yeah,
bill.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Well, last
something to
year-
go, right.
Last year, the system that we went through, it worked pretty well, didn't it?
Very well.
Oh, we're great.
You get some people who say, and I know Alicia made the comment, and I agree with her, that it's too bad only 20 people show up for the budget presentation. But you could argue that participation by voting was much higher than you get at a town meeting.
Right.
True,
Because you have to
absolutely,
ballot
absolutely.
Because everybody can vote,
Yeah, I think statewide in general election last year was 73%,
That's, yeah.
which
which
is,
is huge.
I know, I was just
Very high.
disappointed more people could show up on
Yeah,
Zoom,
on
but,
the-
Yeah.
but the only other thing, so, sounds like we're all on the same page, is just doing it the way we did last year, except that there might not be funding for,
there may not be funding
ballots.
for mail-in ballots, and that
So-
would be your choice as to how you're gonna handle that. I would,
I would think that ARPA money could be certainly used for
possibly
that.
ARPA money could be used.
If we
yeah.
have nobody else to pay for it.
Right, and the Secretary of State has a very large pot of money for elections that he dips into.
okay.
And that's how he paid for the elections last year, was out of that fund, the election fund that he has.
Do we know what
It's made
the
up of-
cost was roughly?
Pardon me?
Do we know what the cost to us roughly was
I
before we
don't
got
know, but Helen
reimbursed?
certainly does. It was,
Okay.
it's substantial.
Well, that's,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's-
I know, because I'd
is there
rather
some way
have
to
people
get
request.
Helen? Okay. Helen McKinley, are you there with us?
I am.
Oh, we're talking about you, but I'm sorry. The question really is, do you have thoughts on how to hold the election this year? And more specifically, how much did it cost the town before reimbursement to do the Australian mail-in balloting?
That didn't cost us anything. The state took care of everything on mailing the ballot.
Did we have to pay and get
We didn't use
reimbursed?
any of our own voltage. No.
Okay.
Okay, so we have no way of knowing
Now,
what
this
it
year, we
costs.
aren't doing that. We're not hearing that this year.
Well, that's why I guess we were trying to figure out what it would cost us if we weren't reimbursed by the state.
So I guess the question is
Well, we have
how,
approximately 2,500
What'd she say?
voters at this point, and it would cost us
1,500.
probably 75 to 80 cents on each ballot.
Well,
How many voters was that, Helen? 2,500?
You're
Roughly
looking-
2,500. It changes.
If you figure 2,500, you figure $1 a ballot.
Dollar head, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
2,500.
That won't break the bank, but it would be great to have the state kick in.
okay.
And ultimately, even if we didn't want to do the mail-in, we can do the drive around, right? And just people hand them and go.
That'll be tough in March, but you could, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
somehow.
What about the
Yeah.
firehouse? Doing the firehouse like-
Well, I think John might have something to
I
report
did
on that.
mention the possibility to Chief Hempel, and he said that they'd be happy to accommodate like they did
That worked
at the
well.
last
That
time
worked
meeting.
well.
That worked very good.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
Do we need a motion? Mr. Holman?
I don't think we need a motion, but it's good for me to know that, well, there would be a motion needed if you wanted to approve the warning, which is written up that way. Or we could kick it to the next meeting. Preferably, we could do it tonight with the knowledge that we can rescind it if things change.
I will make a motion that we approve the warning as written, subject to
Yeah.
possible change.
Second that.
Before you vote, I should point out that taking your temperature, I got the impression that you wanted us to include in the warning a ballot article to opt into retail cannabis sales.
Right.
Are you
Oh, so
comfortable
that
with
needs to
that
be in
being
there?
on the ballot? Doesn't have to stay there, but I had thought that maybe you
It
wanted
should,
to.
but we need to make a decision one way
The
or the
town,
other. I think. I
well,
mean,
we don't, the
Well,
town
we
needs to
need-
make a
The
decision.
town
That was
does.
the
So put it
we I
on the
meant.
ballot
Put it on the ballot,
and-
let
That
the
was
town
the we I
decide.
meant.
And just like we did last year, the select board can draft a letter to voters before the election expressing opinions or
Expressing-
no opinion on certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
that sounds good.
Yep,
Okay.
including that then.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Good.
So any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So I think we've covered those two line items, the warning and the preparations.
Yep.
So, good. Thank you, Butch. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Well, hold on, because we still need Butch for the next, for
Yeah, no,
review and discuss state property valuation, review 2021's equalization study and implications for reassessment. I'm sure you could help us with that. I mean, I guess that's more of a Lisa thing, right? But
It
you'd
is.
be able to help us,
It is.
so.
For now, she didn't necessarily expect action. She
Yep.
just wanted to plant the seed that maybe at some relatively soon date, we could have a discussion on whether to go forward with the bid process. Her feeling was that, yes, we are starting to approach those parameters above and below that might force the town, by state action, to do a reassessment, and that given that it's relatively hard to find companies who are able to do it on short notice, that we might want to think about going out to bid and getting bids for a reassessment to happen in a year or two or even 3. So anyway, that's really just her way of saying the new CLA and the equalization study from the state, that letter, causes her to feel that a reassessment will be needed maybe sooner than we otherwise would expect.
Okay. And then there's been a lot of talk, right, about, there was a whole study that was done on different ways to fund education, and I don't know do you have any updates on that and how that would tie into any of this?
The cost is the cost
Okay,
of education. It's just the way that we weigh, it's called a weighting study. It's kind of like if you have a student that requires a special needs student, what weight does that student carry? Does it carry 1.2 students? Does it carry 1.5? If we have a student whose native language is not English, how much weight does that student carry? And one of the things that the weighting committee looked at is there a difference between urban and suburban and rural communities in weighting? But the cost is still the cost.
Okay. Yeah, I know, because I know Winooski kept coming up because they have a lot of English
Yeah,
learners.
Yeah, they are, their school system is mostly English as a second language,
Right.
ESL kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought that was either tied into that or maybe a separate one with also just the funding piece in general.
Yeah, no, that's, they'll work within the parameters of the ed fund.
Okay,
It's just that how you distribute the money.
okay.
I'm thinking so far, we haven't done anything with that, and.
Okay, yeah.
There's been, I'm sure there'll be a bill coming from the Senate on that. Actually, it's gotta start in the House, because it can't start in the Senate.
Okay.
So, we'll see what they made some recommendations, for some weighting changes, but I don't think it was as profound as everybody had hoped for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that's that on that piece. All right, let's look at the fifth draft, the 2023 budget.
Yes, we took to heart what you all had to say about not wanting to increase the highway fund as much as it had been proposed. And so we chopped off $25,000 or so out of the highway fund by one, skipping a year of line striping since we've already were unable to find a contractor this fall. And two, shave about $13,000 more from the proposed increase in the paving budget. So again, as presented, the current budget drafts reflect balanced budgets for general highway, village, water, and sewer funds, featuring for the general fund and highway fund property taxes a 3% increase, which of course, if you're curious about our colleague towns or our neighboring towns, seems to be in line with what we're seeing out of West Rutland, Proctor, and Virgins. Those are three colleagues who've told me what their boards are looking at the present time,
Okay,
given the inflationary pressures we're looking at, et cetera.
right.
Some of this is because of uncontrollable costs
Oh,
like
there's
insurance.
there's no doubt about that, plus
That's,
heating oil and fuel oil, and you're seeing inflation all across the line with respect to the supply chain issues, et cetera. So I'd say that by limiting the increase to 3%, while also giving a little bit more to the fire department capital fund, the highway capital fund, and the police cruiser fund, I'd say you're positioning the town pretty well for big ticket items to come.
And then if you want to get all your people on a Zoom call, we go to like 10% increase, and then you'll have people on your Zoom call. So, you know, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just
No,
saying,
let's-
Alicia, if
let's,
that's, you know.
I'm gonna rent a different car than I usually drive that night.
Well, we still don't know where the school's coming in.
That's
They-
true.
they
Oh,
may-
no.
No, we did, it's three,
Three or-
theirs is three. It's,
$90 million surplus in the ed fund.
They're around.
The governor and the legislature and how to spend that money.
okay,
Governor wants to give back 45 and spend 45 on school construction.
all right.
Legislature, we're kind of bound by the statute that says we have to give it all back.
Good.
So there's going to be a tussle there.
Okay.
It's only
Yeah.
Oh.
40, it's only a difference of 45 million. Which is a
That's
big
all,
difference.
you
that's
got
all,
that.
yeah.
But that's the second largest piece of the state budget, about $1.6 billion is for ed
Okay.
fund.
All right.
It's a big number.
But Joe, our local school budget was around 3% increase too. I don't remember the exact number, but,
So we're kind of in line with that, which be nice if it was less, but that's reality.
yeah,
Don't forget, whatever is over the per pupil, I can't think of the term now, that the state allows you to have, anything over that is 100% out of your pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
that equalized.
Yeah, over the equalized
For-
payroll amount, or what we call the yield. Anything over the yield, if the yield is $15,000 and you have a $19,000 per student cost, that extra $4,000 is 100% Mostly 100% from your
Yep.
local budget.
Okay. Well,
I did talk to Hank in the hospital last week, and I said, Hank, you have a marvelous sense of timing. Once again, you can avoid voting on the town budget,
Yeah.
just like he used to when he was running the golf course.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, all right, well, we don't have any control over the school budget, so that's that. All right, well then I guess we just have to, are we ready to adopt this or what? We've already cut out a lot and,
I don't think we
Think-
can cut anymore.
no, I think we've gotten to
I
where
went over
we,
it pretty good again today, looking where we could.
yeah.
And you can also cut it too much and then it comes back to bite you.
Well, then the next year you gotta increase it even more to make up for it.
Double whammy.
Kind of
So
chasing your
we've
tail
done
at that point.
Once or twice. but
And we did level fund the
normally we
last
used to
2
level fund.
years?
Last year at least,
Last year?
because of the first year of COVID.
Yeah.
So,
I would make a motion, we accept the budget as proposed.
okay.
I'll
Give it
second
a
it.
figure.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Wonder what Hank would have voted.
He had said no. No, he wouldn't.
All right, let's see. I guess we'll go to old business, because then we gotta get out of regular board to go into liquor board, right? So,
Yeah.
Yes.
so let's do, update on, recruitment of the new town manager.
Yes, the town had, as you know, 16 applicants. 7 were interviewed over 2 separate nights by the select board virtually. 3 finalists have been chosen to be interviewed in person next Tuesday, January 11th, beginning with the process at 5:30. I think that'll just be 15 minutes of getting ready chatter with the first interview at 5:45. And so Rick McGuire, the VLCT consultant, has been in touch with me. We're trying to, work together to get the logistics done. And in tonight's packet at the end, he has a couple or 3 questions that he asked me to raise for you. If you feel that any of these might get into sensitive areas, please let me know, and maybe we can deal with it in executive session. First, shouldn't have to be discussed in an executive session. He needs to finalize with the board what they're willing to cover related to travel expenses for 2 candidates who will be traveling from out of state. He says, I suggest Pittsford covered mileage at the IRS rate and provide a stipend of $150 to cover lodging expenses for 1 night. Can you run this by your board for informal approval?
Fine with me, though. I think they'd have a hard time finding somewhere to stay, period, from what I hear, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, but yeah.
That sounds like an informal approval to me.
But, yeah, the
Yeah.
cost is.
Second, it might be helpful if each candidate meets with you, meaning John Haverstock, for 45 minutes before they meet with the select board on Tuesday evening. Are you, John Haverstock, willing to do it? Yes. If so, is this something your board is okay with?
I don't see any problem.
No, guess just for you to go over with them what you,
Just kind of have
Typically
a
do, and-
welcome to town chat, and
Yeah.
maybe they have questions for me.
yeah,
I
okay.
won't feel that it's my duty to probe them at all, but I think Rick might ask how those conversations went after the fact.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
And then, finally, excuse me. Third, I would like to put out a request for your board to provide me with any questions they would like to ask each candidate. Again, the interviews are scheduled for 45 minutes each. That means we will need to have about 3 questions for each board member. I, meaning Rick, will be happy to come up with a list of questions, but wanted to offer the opportunity to the board to identify any questions they want to ask. If the board does not wish to provide me with questions, or does wish to provide me with questions, I will need them by noon on Monday.
One thing I would say on that should be an executive session. I don't think we should be
that-
giving
exactly.
people the questions we're gonna
Oh,
ask.
Oh, no, we wouldn't. We would email them to
He's
Rick.
just saying, email them
Oh,
separately
email them
by
separately. You're not
Monday.
talking about discuss them
No,
tonight?
no,
Okay.
no.
Well, yeah, okay.
That's if you have them. If you don't, he'll assume that what he puts together will be fine.
Okay.
Great.
Kinda
I know,
hard,
he did.
kinda hard to know where a
He's been really
interview
good.
like that's gonna go, because
That's why they have them.
that's, what can,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good.
All right, and then what was the town meeting minutes? I have that as
We
a,
already did that.
You already did that.
why do I have it separate as it added,
Because you added it in there, but then he added it in
Okay.
up here.
all right, just didn't check her off.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
no, you're good.
And then, all right, we have the tax abatement.
Yes,
That's new, correct?
yes, it
That's under
is.
new business,
In
yeah.
the past, it's been practiced, and I think Helen will confirm this, that we get occasionally a request from somebody who's blown the tax abatement, the homestead declaration deadline, and they get penalized by the state. And this town has the opportunity and the right to waive that penalty if it chooses to do so. And I think the town's policy has been one time per
Yep.
person only. And this is the person's first request for such an abatement, and Helen is therefore recommending that the board accept it.
Okay, yeah.
kinda gotta,
It's only $52 and
Yeah.
Need a
change.
motion on that? or-
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Paul Lathrop,
The amount.
oh, I'm sorry, 5245. Yep.
All right, and a highway access permit.
Yes, this is Lance Munger on Sugar Hollow Road. He's looking for a second driveway to do some logging on his property. And the highway foreman has approved it pending select board confirmation. And it's in tonight's packet with a little map of Sugar Hollow.
See that?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good.
And
I think I might
then,
have, I think I might have forms I need to send down your way.
oh, okay.
Usually do.
Yes,
And you'll send that up to me.
yes, I will do that. And then here's the access right-of-way permit form.
Is this the one we have to watch, which side we sign on? or not?
Yes, it is, Joe, and
Uh-oh.
Dave, and Alicia, and Tom, but mostly Joe.
did I start right or am I wrong?
You're right on, you're right on the money.
Right on the money. We all just gotta sign under you.
I know, there's like an agree, what does it say, agree?
Because I
disagree,
remember on the
or-
other side, it's disagree, and yeah,
Liquor board is that way too.
is the liquor board that way too?
I know, I feel like we do often
You
mess up.
did, yeah.
I know, I would've gone to the right-hand side.
No, I remember we did that once,
That's true.
but it was still, I think, 3 on one side and 2 on the other, yeah, so it was still approved,
Passed.
just not unanimous,
Oh, yeah.
at least as far as signatures go.
And unless I missed anything, that is all for
Yes, that's right.
this. So we
Then you
can,
got the liquor
well, yeah,
board,
close
which is a
out
different, yeah.
select board and open up the liquor board. Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I want to bring you up to date on the paving project that I talked about last year that would go from somewhere down by the bridge to up the Brandon.
Okay.
The
Oh,
shipping
oh, yeah,
project.
they did a really good job with that, Butch. It's,
Well,
the road's beautiful.
Well, you
Stand by.
you had some good luck, you had some good luck this week, okay?
we did.
So you don't want to kick a gift horse in the mouth.
Okay, well, I just.
So that project started out at $1 million. We're now at 1.9 because they're going to grind through the village all the way.
Oh,
Level that out and put a good 1.5 inch on, and they're going to grind wherever we got ponding going up through on Route 7, especially on Mayville Hill. So they are going to do a large amount of grinding. And I know it seems silly because we're going to be digging that
I was
up.
gonna say, does that mean it'll be 2050 now before
No,
they?
no, they're doing this because of the condition of the highway, and it really needed to be done like 5 years ago, so we're gonna do it now. So we're at 1.9 million. So there was some juggling around of money, and we have that money now. It's in the new T-bill budget, but I'm hoping they will bid the job, and still on track to bid the job in February for spring construction, and they'll use some monies from, as we all do, from different funds to make that happen. So that's at 1.9. However, the town manager sent me a letter last week,
Yeah,
that said,
within
request.
seconds of when I got the news.
Yeah, within seconds when you get the news, from utilities that wanted to know how many manholes and water shutoffs were within the project length within Pittsford, because it's $1,000 or so.
For every,
The municipality would be responsible for adjusting manhole covers and $250
Yeah.
per water shutoff.
Hours, yeah.
yeah,
So
So
I
it's
got the letter.
1,000 for a manhole and 250 for a water
for
shut.
water
Yeah.
shut-offs,
Yeah.
around them.
So simply we were wondering, are we getting
Yeah,
billed for
so I mean, we
$10,000?
did some rough calculations, and it's somewhere around 20 grand, right, John? 50.
$20,000.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
John, he got a hold of me, like you said, within seconds of getting the letter from utilities. I got a hold of somebody else, and as they say, it flows downhill occasionally, so came back today, right, today,
Yeah.
that they have adjusted their procedures on projects like this, which is just a straight mill and fill for safety purposes, so that cost will now fall within the bid.
In the bid.
So it'll be buried somewhere.
Beautiful.
Oh,
in
so
the
we
bid.
won't,
So the town is not gonna incur any,
So you have that in writing.
I have that in writing.
Well, I'm just.
John
thinking-
has it in writing.
I'm just thinking our water line on. the
No,
new-
and well, we discussed that. a little bit,
Kerfluffle,
yeah.
so
And-
I just-
And actually, because of the actions that happened on the water line piece, they're gonna adopt the same policy that they gave the town of Pittsford for a statewide thing. In other words, they will accept all the overheads as you did up there, because they wanted $175,000 or $80,000 to do those relocations, and it ended up about 105 because the project assumed all the overheads on that.
But you get your gold star when we get the 105 back from the
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
But
Yeah.
settle for a silver star.
On that one.
Yeah.
He's
Sweet,
a
this-
bronze star. Don't inflate him too much.
But, you know, we work for the constituents.
So this is supposed to happen in the spring?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping they're gonna bid it in February. That's so much money moving around, it may fall into the FY '23 budget, but they have enough money. This is what we call, this is Carissa money. AOT got an extra $50 million gift from the feds in December of last year, of about $50 million. So
What about the sidewalks then? Because you know they're not gonna be doing, if they're putting 1 million into the road, they're not gonna be redoing that section for,
you know, you had your chance on the sidewalk.
Yeah, we blew it.
Yeah, you had your chance on the sidewalk.
They are doing some guardrail work though, in this.
They'll be doing, I suspect they'll be doing some guardrail work along this, but
They're doing
along
some
these in some areas where the guardrail's really
Do you have
bad.
any update on segment 4?
Segment 4, yes, I do, and I don't have it with me tonight, John.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and I
Because that's the
Sorry
next,
for that.
that's
So
the
that-
next segment to be reconstructed.
So
That's
they're
the
not-
north end of
right.
town into Brandon.
Right.
Right.
So that's about from the hockey barn to Otter Valley.
Or is that
What's-
start-
what
No,
is-
no, from village line to the hockey barn.
The main
what's the
bill
village
north.
segment? I always get the numbers.
Village is 2. That's still the very last segment,
That's the last
28,
one.
29. So they will not bid the next segment until segment 1's done.
Okay,
And they're dragging their feet a little bit, waiting to see what happens with the bridge.
Right.
right,
Because,
okay.
they're pretty cognizant of having two of these pieces of road open in.
Two
within a
obstructions
10-mile
in one
stretch.
town,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so,
No, but the segment from the top of the hill by Rasmussen's to Otter Valley,
Yeah.
that's after the one.
That's
the
4.
next one.
that's 4, that's
That's
4.
right?
From the hockey barn north is 4.
Do they have
Plains
all
Road,
the
what do you call a
permits,
hockey
everything
barn?
set for
Everything
that
is, they're permitted up.
Stonehouse.
Yeah.
There's a-
I believe they're
Stonehouse is really
permitted
close to
for
the
that.
road.
Oh,
They
the
were-
one with the.
Detroit
Yeah,
Red
yeah,
Wings.
Yeah, the Red Wing
Red
sign,
right,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Right.
Elmore's.
Yeah, Elmer, yeah.
That's
Or
what it
Orweiler, it used
says,
to be
yeah.
Orweiler.
So my question.
Oh, it used to be, God, who was that guy? He drove school bus when I was a little kid. Tucker, used to be Tucker's.
Yeah.
Well, if they have those all in place, why don't they do that one, the worst part first? It doesn't
They're gonna
make
do
sense.
4 first.
So
And then
4 is
They're
Otter
still-
They
Valley
still have
to
some,
Tucker's?
they still have some right-of-way issues on 3.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
we
so
all
they're
know who
gonna
that
do
is.
from the barn to Otter
4
Valley
is,
first.
4 is scheduled next.
Well, all right, that's, yeah,
So you may have noticed stakes along the utilities
okay.
on going out of town on the power line. That's in prep for that segment for the utility company
So
to
that's what
start
should have
talking
done
about moving
first.
poles.
And then segment 3 is
Yeah,
Plains
but
Road north
somebody's
to
holding
that.
that
Right.
up.
Right.
Well, not now, I guess.
Right.
They've got all the
Pardon me?
permits and.
3 is still being held up, correct?
Still, 3 is still being held up
Held up,
by
yes.
some right-of-way issues.
Right.
Landowners. Yeah.
Yep.
If you remember, there were
2 of them in there.
23 lawsuits going up through
Gosh,
there.
was there?
They've settled,
Oh, yeah?
yeah,
Settle them all, but 2, isn't it?
settled them all but a couple, yeah. And
Mm.
they were all settled in favor of the agency. There were right-of-way issues and all that other stuff.
Right.
So that's kind of where we are, and thank you for reminding me of that. I did speak to them about that, and I have notes at home, and I should have brought them, I'm sorry.
And thank you for your good work leaning on the right people.
Well, sometimes we just get lucky.
All right.
Sometimes they get sick of hearing from me, too.
No,
Well, you know, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
that's why we vote for
Well, you know,
him.
I have a long history with AOT. My company, about 85% of my work with my
Was
company
with
was
them,
through
yeah.
AOT.
Right,
Yeah,
so
well,
that's,
connected.
yeah.
Yeah, the fun part is that a lot of the folks that are in supervisory and management positions were resident engineers, rookie
Yeah, good.
resident engineers on jobs we did over the years, so it's kind of fun to talk to those folks and
Yep.
kind of like old home week.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But then once it gets to the point where they're gone, then,
Then you start over.
yeah,
No,
well,
that's
you know,
That's fine. No, they're good people. They all mean well. They just, sometimes they don't speak our language.
well, yeah.
All right, thank
Good.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have two liquor license.
Yes, as to the Proctor Pittsford Country Club, they're seeking the renewal of their first class, third class, and outside consumption permits. And you could probably
did you-
pass those in a batch if you wanted.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Butch, did he?
Interrupted our, well, he was just he was in the beginning of our liquor board.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure.
I remember as soon as Alicia said liquor, Butch perked right up.
Perked right up, yes, he did, yes.
I'll make the motion, we approve it.
So you have a motion here from Joe to
I'll
approve
second
those.
it, to approve it all.
Both of them in one fell swoop, is what we're
Well,
going
if
for?
you'd like, would you like a?
I didn't-
fri-
I just
would you
didn't
take
hear
a-
what his
Would you
motion
take a
was.
friendly amendment to add the fourth
No, I
one,
go for it.
which is the Maple Fields
Right
request
along.
for a
Have 'em
second-class liquor license?
They should be together anyway.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
My second
So I
includes
just,
them all.
okay, so there's discussion, so.
Go ahead.
Well, you can
So
discuss
has
it.
there been any problems with selling underage alcohol at the Maple Fields?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay, I just asking,
Yeah.
just asking.
I did see that,
There was-
David Rollins got training or something. He's the
Yes.
manager over there. I didn't know what, that's the first time I've seen that though in one of our packets.
Yeah, I
About-
agree, but maybe they're just trying to be proactive and show how reliable and safe it would be for us to approve their
Yeah,
application.
no, I wasn't
that's-
making a judgment
that's a
call on it
good
either
thing.
way. I just hadn't seen
If
that.
you have any
Yeah.
information,
Rumor has
Dave,
it Maple Fields had an incident, but that's.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
there's
really?
another one in town that has.
Is there? No.
Oh, yes.
if you'd like to share that with me or Chief Warfel, by all means.
Oh, one of you already knows.
Okay, good.
It is one I'm thinking about. I don't know. Could be.
Well,
Well, as far as these two, we had a
These two are
motion and a
fine. These two
second.
are
All
fine.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Very good. There you go.
All right, so we are done
You
with
have to
liquor
sign
board,
these,
going
don't you?
back into select board.
There's 4 different signatures and there's an arrow right
Which
where
side,
there.
now which side do you want me?
The left side.
Left side. You know which is your left?
I'm
The one with the
left-handed.
good, your good
One with your
eyesight.
good
Good eyesight.
I'm left-handed too.
Oh, Jesus.
We're all
Can't miss
set
this
then.
one.
Oh, you should have been here. Was it last meeting or the meeting
Yeah,
before?
last meeting.
He had a picture of something on his phone, so
Yeah.
he hands it to Hank. Hank hands it to
Her.
Alicia.
Hands it
I
to
look
him.
at it. I go like this to Joe,
Joe.
and I've got it like right here, and he's just oblivious.
So finally he's waving.
Finally, I waved it further over, and it's like.
So naturally,
I will take my leave.
hey, Butch, naturally, I assumed they were making fun of the town manager while I was chatting.
We do have fun once in a while.
Yeah,
We do.
You
Yeah,
have fun, you do too hard a job.
That's right.
you gotta have fun.
Yeah.
Even if it takes me to provide it.
Well,
Hey,
yeah,
Joe, somebody's got to do
somebody's
it.
gotta do it.
I'm willing.
Ta-ta.
See you later.
Good night.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Excuse me. board until we'd sign these things. Does it matter?
You should, oh,
Formality wise?
it'll all look good in the minutes. I'm sure Kelly will take care of that.
Yeah.
I did just buy Robert's rules. Thanks.
Oh.
Pretty hefty.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, it has.
You're all the time.
You should bill the town for that, since that's an important expense for the chair to have.
Oh, it was not that much,
Okay.
but thanks for that
Sure,
offer.
Sure. So this just kind of extends poor, Mr. Carvey's, non-debut by another year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's, yeah.
Rats, we could have used some of that comic relief too around these times. I guess actually now we can end the open part of our meeting and go into
There's
executive.
no need for executive session.
Oh, shoot, that's right.
Yeah, we're done.
Adjourned.